So today my partner and I went to the movies and we decided to make it a double feature. We decided to do a gay Barbenheimer, otherwise known as watching Girls Like Girls and Leviticus. And I figured I'd give a quick rundown and sort of review of what I thought of both of them. We're going to start with Girls Like Girls, which was a project by Hayley Kiyoko, and it was based on a song she wrote, which she turned into a music video, which she turned into a book, which she turned into this movie. So yeah, just a song, music video, book, movie. I was excited for this one because we so rarely get to see like mainstream Woola Woola films. Like it was just like exciting, if for no other reason than to be able to see like these. Honestly, both of these films coming out on the same weekend during Pride Month was really cool. However, when it comes to the movie itself, I wish I had liked it more than I did. That isn't to say that I disliked it. I thought that the cinematography was fine. The color grading and stuff I enjoyed. I liked how it kind of had this wispy, nostalgic sort of feel to it. I believe it takes place in like the summer of '06, and the characters are about the age that I would have been at that time, so it was sort of nostalgic and interesting seeing something set in the past, which of like a fictional character's childhood, which would have also been like my childhood, and probably Hayley Kiyoko's too. I don't know how old Hayley Kiyoko is. Okay, I just checked. She's only a year older than I am, so yeah, it would have been about like when we were this age. And I won't talk about how it feels to see something set 20 years ago in a period that I remember very distinctly growing up in. But when it comes to the movie itself, I really liked the main character, Coley. I thought that she was a very believable, like, empathetic, interesting character who just, you could definitely feel, like, she definitely felt like the protagonist in a coming-of-age film in all of the best ways. And her relationship with Sonia felt realistic, but that's not necessarily a positive thing. Well, okay, let's just say this. I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, showing a very real experience that a lot of queer young people have. Like the experience of having this teenage fling with someone who is not really ready to accept who they are or to accept themselves or to be publicly out in this, that, and the other. Like that's very normal. That's a very common experience, especially for queer young people. And I think that it's important to recognize that. And I don't think there's any issue at all with that being sort of the premise between like Coley and Sonia's relationship. However, that doesn't change the fact that it is so common is why their relationship just felt like watching a Chappell Roan song in real time. Just an endless loop of Good Luck Babe and Casual playing in my head as I'm watching this film, because Sonia is like sort of the archetypal girl who totally is into girls but will probably never publicly admit that. Like if I'm thinking about like where are these characters going to be in 20 years, like where would they be now if they were real? I'm seeing Sonia married to some rich guy who she doesn't really love, but who helps her maintain her status. And she's got like 3 kids with him. And it's just like it's a very when you wake up next to him in the middle of the night situation. And I hope that Coley is happily married to her wife, who treats her a lot better than fucking Sonia does in this film. Again, I have empathy, and I'm gonna go easier on Sonia because it's like they are both very young. Like they're teenagers. I get it. You're a teen. You fuck a lot of stuff up. No one knows what they're doing. So I'm not gonna be as hard on her as I would be like on like a fully grown adults. Like because they are teenagers. But I personally did not ever get to a point in the film where I felt like Sonia had fundamentally changed in her personality enough to where I would believe that she would not continue to play in Coley's face. Like, the movie was by far at its best when it centered on Coley. Whenever Sonia left for camp or whatever, and it was just Coley kind of coming into her own, figuring herself out, getting a job, finding some new friends who do something other than drink all the time. Because, my God, I know teens be drinking and partying and stuff, but, like, do none of y'all have parents who care about y'all? Because y'all have, like, a sort of, like, these people were drinking like they were working the mills all day and like, had been doing it for 35 years. We're talking kids who probably range in age from like 15 to like 18, just drinking like sailors. I'm like, I've never, like, again, I understand I had like a more sheltered upbringing or whatever, but like, do y'all do anything but drink? And I get it's a small town, and a lot of small towns, that might be real, but it just felt like, damn, is there anything that y'all do for fun besides just party and drink and do drugs occasionally? It's just like, do any of y'all have, like, attentive guardians? But anyway, she's coming into her own, and she's learning to be happy and with herself, and she's rebuilding her relationship with her estranged father, and all of that is great. And I think it would have been so ideal if the movie had just ended on that, and Sonia had never popped up again. And it's not because I don't think Sonya would be an important character to exist in Coley's life at some point. I think we've all had at least one person who we have met at a certain point in our lives who we learned a lot of valuable lessons from being with, but who we also never ever want to see again. To me, the movie crash landed as soon as Sonya came back in the picture and has the audacity to come at Coley as though like they can just go back to the way things were. And she's like, acts almost like confused or offended when Coley like doesn't want to talk to her and like wants to avoid her and stuff. And Coley does at one point rightfully point this out, but I don't feel like she calls Sonya out enough when she's like, I'm not a sounding board for you to just work out your shit. Like, you're using her as like an experiment. You're using her to just kind of play around with as an amusement, but you're not committing to her in public. You aren't going to commit to like really treating her like a partner, and again, I get that you're a kid and maybe you're not at that point yet, but I never really, like, when the movie ends with them together, it's just like, well, I really don't have any reason to believe that Sonya's not going to continue to play in this girl's face. Like, I think this is going to end in further heartbreak. I think that Coley would do best to just leave Sonya behind and find you someone who's going to treat you right. Like your dad said, find you someone who doesn't make you cry. Sonya is going to make you cry again. I'm sorry. This is like a Willowbook canon event, but oh my god, steer away from the disaster you're driving into. Oh, also, in their very first interaction, Sonya's fuck-ass kind of boyfriend or whatever the fuck he is, Trent, literally like assaults Coley basically. Like he picks her up against her will. She's like screaming at him to put her down. He like throws her fully clothed into the lake. She's clearly very upset. She leaves and Sonya's just sitting there laughing and tee-heeing until she chases her into the woods, and she's like, as like Coley is like running away crying, and she's like, are you okay? I'm sorry. And like Coley gets mad at her again, understandably, because you were sitting there laughing while your boyfriend or whoever that was like physically assaulting me. And she's just like, well, hey, you bitch, I came out and checked on you, didn't you? And I'm like, girl, who are you talking to right now? Again, it's like I was always rooting for Coley. I was never rooting for Sonya. I'm sorry. Maybe she reminds me too much of my high school bullies, but Sonya always came off like a fake ass bitch to me. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but that girl is going to break Coley's heart again. I am sorry. Next, we're going to talk about Leviticus, but I'm realizing that this is kind of going on long, so I'm actually going to make that a part 2 video, and I'll link it to this one. I promise I won't do that bullshit where I keep you waiting around for a part 2. I will upload them at the same time.